Yo, what's up, y'all? Thanks for attending the How to Become a Health Detective webinar put on by myself as well as Reed Davis. I love doing these webinars because you guys get to see like stuff that I've been doing for the last several years, stuff that I never thought I would be doing. I was a personal trainer for a long time and always felt like there was a way that I could help my clients even more than I already was. And then came up upon Reed Davis and FDN. It's actually a funny story. I should tell you guys the story.
Tell it, Sean.
Um, yeah, the Francesca story. I had a client named Francesca, and she doesn't mind if I use her name.
Hmm.
And she had digestive problems going on, had been to many doctors, and she had come into the Aztec Rec Center where I worked at San Diego State as a personal trainer and read my bio. She knew that I knew a lot about nutrition and things of that sort, and put her on a metabolic typing program, started working out. Things got a little bit better, but not as good as she would have wanted. And the reason why is because, a lot of the issues that she had didn't really have a whole lot to do with diet and exercise and things that I was addressing with the program. And so she went online and somehow found Reed Davis, and she worked with Reed, and they found some stuff going on in her gut. I think it was, I can't remember, it might have been Blastocystis hominis if I remember correctly, which is a little bug in the gut, and she got rid of it and she fixed her adrenals and she just felt amazing. And as a matter of fact, I ran into her about 2 weeks ago at the farmer's market, and she looked great all these years later. And soon thereafter, I had moved. I moved to downtown San Diego, and I had this little studio out there, and I bought this big screen TV. It's like a flat screen. This is when flat screens were relatively new. And Francesca sent me an email and says, Sean, here's this course. You should take this course. The guy who fixed me, Reed Davis, is putting on this course. I really want you to take it. So I didn't have a whole lot of money. Like, I spent all my money on this TV. And so I thought about it, and I put the TV back in the box. I took it back to Best Buy and got my $800 back. And I used that $800 to take Reed's course. And I took it. It was a live course in San Diego. And I sat on the couch the whole time, just mellowing out, listening to Reed. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made because it really allowed me to get out of that box. If you guys have read my book, it's all about stepping outside of your box. And that box is just diet and exercise, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. And FDN taught me, stress plays a huge part of this. Hormones, digestion, detoxification. It gave me the tools to be able to look at that stuff and find out where the dysfunctions are in my clients and how to help them to get their health back. And I've helped literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people with this. And if there was no Reed Davis, if there was no FDN, there would be no Underground Wellness. And so I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to stop talking, hang out for a while. We're going to go about an hour or so, and we have a discount thing for you at the end. We'll talk about how you guys can get a coaching session with me on the phone or through Skype. And so hang out with us. We're glad you're here. And I'm going to pass it on off to Mr. Reed Davis, the founder of Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. Reed, do your thing, buddy.
Ah, shucks, Sean. Thank you very, very much for the great introduction. I appreciate it. That's a wonderful story. And Francesca actually had a lot of things going on, and she did come out real well. And thank God for that. Let's just roll right along here because I do want to respect people's time, especially we have people in other countries. We have people on the east. We're on the west coast where it's still daylight. We got people getting ready to go to bed back east. So, what I just want to do is jump into it and tell you that functional diagnostic nutrition is a very special form of opt-in self-care. It's not traditional health care like people going to a doctor, getting under their care for some disease. It's not. It's all about building health. And I've done this for over 12 years now. I've helped thousands of people, literally over 11,000 people I've run tests on, and helped them to get well, all naturally, all without drugs. And I worked at this wellness center in Southern California as the case manager, and I saw hundreds and hundreds of their patients, the doctors that worked there. I was their clinical nutritionist. So over the years I ran lab work on almost all of them. That was kind of what I started doing when I realized that regular diet, exercise, and supplements wasn't really working for people, not the way we needed it to. Now simultaneously, Sean, you'll remember this, I ran this health screening business, and I got to test thousands of people out. I was at 2 days a week. I was screening. Matter of fact, I want to tell you guys what a yeoman Sean is. That means he is a hard worker. He actually took over my screening business for about 6 months when I started teaching, and it was hard work, but you get to meet a lot of people, have a lot of fun, get a lot of experience. Now, I also, at the same time, all over this like 8, 9, 10 year period, was giving hundreds of lectures, like once, twice a week I'm out lecturing. So that allowed me to build one of the most successful practices in the country. And I've literally, like I said, treated or helped thousands and thousands of people. One thing I learned, if you said, Reed, what's the one thing you learned about this work? No two people are alike, and that's why you need a system. You can't apply the same technology, the same supplements, the same treatment thing, whatever you have going on. You can't give it to any two people and have them get the exact same response. It's just not going to happen. So that's one of the tenets of FDN, one of the principles. You guys, a lot of you have actually come to me for help with your own personal thing or with a family member, and what you and your family members and what the public wants to know. Your clients or patients, they want to know the answer to 3 questions. Do you know what's wrong with me? Can you help me? And have you helped others like me? Now, I readily now, with all this experience, of course, I answer yes to all 3. Do you know what's wrong with me? Yes, you have malfunctions and disease. Now, what these people are saying, what you've been saying, is that all they do, meaning they as the medical Western sort of doctor system, all they do is treat symptoms. Well, for the most part, that's true. But we are the health detectives. We help you. And can we help you? Yes, because we will run the functional lab work. That's what this is going to be about tonight in part. We identify the healing opportunities and get the body to heal. That's the trick. We use all natural protocols, like I said, and restore normal function, and symptoms disappear. You'll see how it works in a minute. Have I helped others like you? Yeah, thousands, like I said. And you can say the same thing. If you get the training, you can say, look, FDN, what I do, ma'am, has helped, or sir, has helped thousands and thousands of people. So you can borrow from our successes. So that's what people want to know. And here's an intake form that I developed with Bill Wolcott. He's a good buddy of mine. He's kind of the world's leading authority on metabolic typing. And we came up with this because we want to but we want to address the main complaints, the person complaints, on a functional level. And here's how it works. I hope you can see this on the screen. Again, I'm talking real fast because I've got a lot of information here to cover with you guys tonight. Here's a person whose main complaint was fatigue and lethargy. I know you've heard that one. Bothers them daily. Going on for the last 3-4 years. They've tried medication, sleep, resting, and I'm sure a lot of supplements too. It prevents them from training and doing their athletics up to the full potential. They're very committed. Now here's a list of the top 10 complaints, which adds some more stuff to it. But more important is why they're having these complaints. Sure, there's drugs, there's supplements, there's all the things. We're going to go over some of the options that people have and people use. But what we have, and it's down below your screen here, there's like this whole long list of all the different complaints, and people rank them. They rank them by points. And so we have a total number of points, and then we have the individual functional categories. You're going to learn about this. Don't sweat the details right now. We divide their complaint points into between endocrine function, neurotissue health, musculoskeletal health, carbohydrate metabolism, eicosanoid modulation, detoxification, and fat and protein metabolization. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. This person has 426 total points. Sean, how many points should a person have?
None. 0.
0 points. There are 426 points here. Now that's a lot. Most of you who have submitted an ASI form to me have like 100, 150, up to 250, 350 even. And you're healthcare practitioners, most of you. So you've got points too. Now, the points added up 113 in this area, 203 in this area. And here's the deal. We're going to work with you. We're going to run some labs. That's what we do in FDN. We're going to work on these underlying causes and conditions, and these points are going to disappear. So I want you to really notice the difference. We're not treating the symptoms. We're going to treat the conditions. And then the next time we do this test, let's say 30 days, you'll have less points. 60 days, 90 days out, we're going to have this down to very, very manageable, happy stuff. Hopefully all these top 10, and certainly the main complaint, should be resolved. Now, it may not happen in 90 days, but you get where I'm going with this. Now, the other important thing, and this is critical in what tonight's all about, we said we don't want to treat symptoms, and we're going to run some labs. But what I'm finding out there is that people are treating the test result instead of the person. So first of all, here's where I get these points from and these functions, and why we start usually with steroid hormone balancing and adrenal dysfunction and cortisol dysregulation. And hopefully tonight I'll resolve some mysteries around that dynamic. So these are the physiological aspects of steroid hormone balance, adrenal dysfunction, and cortisol dysregulation. Stuff you're going to learn in the course. Remember, this person on the previous page had 113 endocrine function points. Well, that could mean ovarian hormone type symptoms, testosterone type symptoms, thyroid type symptoms, pancreas, and all the other endocrine producing glands. They have issues in that area. They have 205 points up here: memory and learning, quality of sleep. I'm going to go around real fast: 22, 14, 36, 31. And a total, like we said, of 426 points. You heard Sean say it, they shouldn't have any points. Later on, they're not going to have any points, or they're going to have it down to a very, very few insignificant points. And so what we know, and you might hear me say this 5 times tonight, because I want to stress memory and learning. Well, there's ginkgo biloba, and you could just take some Ritalin, maybe that'll help. Quality of sleep and mood. Well, there's kava, melatonin, all this stuff. There's even drugs you can take, and so on and so on and so on. We believe starting with function and running some functional labs, you're going to address these complaints. And this is what people are walking in your office with, or walking into your gym. They may come to you just for, let's say, I want to get bulk up, I want to get faster, I want to get stronger, I want to have more energy. But they'll also have these things: the allergies, acne, rosacea, blood sugar problems, depression. I won't read everything here, but I know you've got people with headaches, inflammation, pain, asthma, allergies. These are the kind of things that people complain of. And there's a drug for everything, and there's a bunch of supplements for everything. We learned, a dozen or more years ago that just taking that stuff and the lifestyle thing isn't quite what we want to do. And again, not only these things, but any other chronic stress-related condition are addressed by FDN. This is what we do. And you have these things, you listening, who are healthcare practitioners, and so do your clients. But you guys, as healthcare practitioners, you're smart enough to know, and Sean has been telling you for years now, that it's not so much the symptoms, it's the underlying causal factors. So these are what we get to investigate as good health detectives: adrenal-related dysfunction, circadian rhythm problems, poor nutrient breakdown and absorption, assimilation, pro-oxidant versus antioxidant, dysbiosis and hormone and inflammatory and immunodeficiency, the liver detoxification, bacteria, yeast, all this sort of stuff that we get to. And it's fun. It's exciting when you start working at this level. And the only way I know how to do it, other than the form, you start with the form and it starts leading you right direction, you finally get there. Now, again, I want to stress this to you guys. I'm not just doing this with clients. I'm doing this with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of practitioners. And believe it or not, you guys, 70-80% of you, have problems in one or more of these functional areas and are not using the correct protocols to permanently resolve them. Sometimes you're getting pretty close, and some of you actually have it, but 70-80% are using the wrong protocols. And that's what we're going to figure out for you today. A lot of you have even been trained in functional approaches to health, but you were never given a simple strategy to handle a case from beginning to end to get a successful outcome. And again, this is including you. I want the subtitle of this, Sean told you how to become a health detective. Well, yeah, but the subtitle is how to fix yourself so then you can fix others. You look at Sean Croxton, man, that's one fit guy, but he doesn't just fit on the outside. He's got all these good interior things going on. Just like Paul Chek says, a lot of fit, unhealthy people. Now, so we get down to this lab testing thing, and when I first started teaching it was, wow, lab testing, that's the jazz, man, that's the juice, that's what you're really going to be able to help people with. But in 4 years of teaching this, again, hundreds and hundreds of people in all these countries, plus I got to tell you, I'm a clinical advisor for Biohealth Laboratories. I don't own any stock in the company. You can use any labs you want. It doesn't matter to me. But I work for them. I give them some hours on Monday morning, some hours on Friday morning, and I'm advising their doctor clients. Most of them are chiropractors, some medical doctors, some acupuncturists, and a lot of people that I've trained actually. And the ones that are coming in just sort of off the street, I would say, hey, I got this lab, I want to go over it. They are ordering the labs because they know that's the right thing to do, but they really aren't sure of which tests to run, when to run them, and what to do with the results. Now, again, I only give biohealth maybe 8 hours a week. I tell these people, look, just take my course because that's where you're really going to get it. I can't give it to you going over one lab for half an hour. So my fear with you guys is that you're just treating the test results. Now, we already know not to treat the symptoms. Well, I'm going to run some labs. But too many people are just treating the test results instead of the person, the client or patient. And you're going to lose them down they're going to go to someone else down the road. That'll give us all a bad name. So in order to understand the whole rest of the webinar, pay attention to this real closely here, because I'm going to give you the sort of secret to how the body works and how functional diagnostic nutrition works. And if you were a physician practicing functional medicine, this is how it's supposed to work. We have people under the good kind of stress. I mean, some stress is okay. Your body is able to adapt to it on multiple levels. It's very complex, but you are adapting in every way, in every cell, in every system, in every organ. You're adapting to some kind of stress. And that would call, if you had perfect adaptation to all the stress you're under, we'd call it adaptation, homeostasis, stress resolution. That's normal. The deal is that stress occurs. It's distress. It's the bad kind, distress. Now it just happens, and it happens on every level. And I'm not just talking about someone, cut you off in traffic or you're running away from a bear and those sort of things. It's happening on a chemical and physical and emotional and spiritual level all the time. And our body does adapt to it, though. If you're otherwise healthy, your body's going to resist and it's going to put up a fight. And some of these adaptation markers, the classic one is like cortisol, but there's adrenaline, there's secretory IgA within your immune system. There's all these, that's what we call it, dynamic adaptation. And in particular, I like to start with this idea of the phases of adrenal dysfunction and cortisol dysregulation. There's lots of reasons behind it, and we don't just say adrenal fatigue because that's outmoded, but the deal is that you're resisting and attempting to adapt all the time whenever there's stress. And Sean, how does a person feel? Let's say they're really cranking out cortisol, adrenaline, their immune system's working real good, their digestive system's real good, their liver's working extra hard, but it's still able to maintain. How do you think they feel?
They typically feel pretty good.
They feel pretty good up here. Even though markers might be high, they're not really feeling it until when? Until that distress becomes the predominant force. Now, Sean, I love doing that paleo thing with you because we actually got to talk about some people, the paleo man, who may not have had this distress predominance. I mean, they actually had kind of an idyllic life for a big part of it anyway. And so that's when the body's ability to resist and this idea of dynamic adaptation starts to fail. Now, it doesn't fail all at once for the most part. It will fail over a period of time. So you could spend, months or years even. I had one lady tell me, I think I was in stage 1 for 22 years, or what we're now calling phase 1, adrenal dysfunction, cortisol dysregulation. So let's not lose track that this is on many different levels, and the person could be failing, or at least starting to fail. And Sean, how do you think they feel right here?
Probably a little rundown, I always say they're starting to read stuff about their health, just wondering what the deal is.
Yeah, in other words, they're not like at the doctor saying, I have tumors growing out of my head. But they are saying, I'm fatigued, I'm tired, I used to be able to keep my 2 jobs, and now nothing's different in my life. But I just can't maintain, man. I'm coming home and zoning out, and I need alcohol, and I blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. Now that's dysfunction. We call it the failure to dynamically adapt. And here it becomes, when it's chronic, people get very symptomatic in here, usually, not always. We call it a phase 2. They kind of can phase in here and eventually end up with collapse and exhaustion. Now, believe it or not, Sean, I would bet that more than half the audience is in this area right here. Even though they
Absolutely.
might look fit, this is what we're finding. I'm just talking facts. I'm not. I'm saying, look, I've run the labs on everybody. You name the demographic. That's what we're finding. And it is really important for you guys to get that we're not just talking about adrenal fatigue. We're talking about this overall the idea of dysfunction on many levels. And here's what could happen. Remember I said you can kind of phase in and out depending on the what you're doing to support the body and the body's functions and things. So you might be exercising, you might be dieting, you might be resting more, you might be taking some things to make you function a little bit better. And you can do this. But what's worse is you could do this too. I mean, it's important for you to realize that you can go from sort of normal to dead real quick if you get the Ebola virus. Or, I mean, it's not even this stage one or phase one might be a blip on the screen. You just pretty much just collapse. Or how about anaphylactic shock, where you eat some peanuts and you're totally allergic to them, and your lungs, you get filled up and you just croak. So it doesn't always work this nice, neat, tidy way, but it's a great model to get the understanding and to teach your clients, teach your clients that this dynamic adaptation is happening on a hormone, immune, digestive, detoxification, intestinal barrier function, all these other things that are very, very easy to test. Now, everybody, I want you to look at your screen now and get this in your brain, because we're going to look at this thing again, okay? So these are some of the labs that I teach and recommend. Adrenal stress profiling with saliva, we look at hormone immune, digestion detoxification immune, we're looking at the urine test, another saliva test here, and we run a lot of other labs, or at least we get trained how to run them so when we need them. But the problem, as I see it, is people don't know which one to start with. And again, since I'm doing this clinical advisor work for the lab for the last 2 years, it's unbelievable what people are running because they thought they should, and they really never got a good system in. And that's what the FDN course will teach you. So check this out, Sean. Again, we don't use the term adrenal fatigue. We're saying phase 3 adrenal dysfunction, cortisol dysregulation, a lot of factors, a lot of dynamics. But we can't test everything on the planet. We got to start somewhere. We start with this cortisol morning, noon, afternoon, nighttime. We get a cortisol sum. And this person's cortisol is on its face where it's really, really low. It's way down in the bottom of that graph we just looked at. Here's the reference range. Say 50,000 people showed up. This would kind of be the average, but this person's way, way below it. Their DHEA also is very, very low. Here's the range, 2 to 10. I say it should never be below a 5. It's at 1. This tells me that, and that you do the math, divide 16 by 163, you get 9.8, a high cortisol to DHEA ratio. What do we have? We have steroid hormones out of balance. What was in the center of our chart? Steroid hormone balance. It's critical. The body will start to fall apart when there's enough stress and your hormones get out of balance. Now there's some other secrets in this test, but I'll just show you the morning. Look at that. I mean, that's really outrageously. In afternoon, horrible. So now this is where, Sean, I'm going to show you that I get people who are running labs, which is a good thing, but they really haven't been either thoroughly or properly trained. I'm not sure. I really think they're being trained quickly to treat the result instead of the person. And you'll see what I mean about that. This person's definitely in that pregnenolone steal. DHEA is low. Most cortisol is low, borderline low. The sum again is low. Hormones are out of balance. The DHEA is tanked. They need immediate support and stress resolution, stress reduction, and they're an excellent candidate for what we do. Now I'll show you the secrets in this in a sec.
And this is really cool, you guys. When your clients see these results, a lot of them will say, actually, most of them will say, "Oh my gosh, now it makes sense. Now I get it now." And this is like, just on paper, they'll look at it and they'll get extremely motivated because this is the first time anything's made sense.
Sean, beautiful. So what Sean's saying is we get clinical correlation. We work with each person, explain it to them, and they get feedback. Here's where that person showed up on the dynamic adaptation chart. You can see that they're really low. They definitely need our model of care. The medical model is not going to be able to address this. And even though we're just looked at cortisol, and that's where the total is, it's highly reflective of all the other things. I mean, it's just telling you that dynamically they're breaking down. Now, by the way, this test that we're looking at is called the 205 adrenal stress profile. The first page is those cortisols morning, noon, afternoon, nighttime. The second page is this estradiol, estriol, progesterone, melatonin, and testosterone. Really important. It tells you some stuff. They have lots of symptoms related to these things, like the estrogen to progesterone imbalance and stuff. I'll show you more in a sec. My question is, this is what I want to get to. Where do you go from there? Let's say you ran that adrenal profile. I get these doctors saying, well, I ran that, and what do I do? Well, you got choices. Choice one might be to treat the results. Support those adrenals, the adaptogens and glandulars, augment those low hormone levels, give them some cream, some drops, or some hormone pellets. After all, the main complaint was fatigue and lethargy. That might make them feel better. So you get some palliation. Their adrenal stress index was over 400 points. A few points might get knocked off that way. They are in this phase of adrenal dysfunction and have these imbalances. Another choice, though, and this is where many people who aren't trained in lab work are going to go. It's going to be to the diet, rest, exercise, and supplement thing. There's different diets that are good, could be very effective. I've seen great success with these. Rest, naps, go to bed early. But let's look at this exercise for just a quick sec. Reduce or increase, which would you do? And what if they were a professional athlete and couldn't reduce it? Or they're already at the maximum. You couldn't increase it either because they're already doing the most they could do. So
reduce comes up a lot because you're going to run into a lot of clients who are going to spin class every morning at 6 o'clock and they're not losing any weight and they're not feeling better. And that's a huge stressor on their bodies. And it's funny when you eliminate or tremendously reduce that stress by saying, hey, work out less, do some more restorative stuff, they start feeling better and things start to come back into balance. And so this one comes up all the time. People are exercising just way too much.
And that's right, Sean, absolutely. And remember, though, that sometimes, stress is a huge, exercise is a huge stressor, and we have markers that would show up on a urine test that would tell us if they're over-exercising. Yep. And so what I'm trying to get at here is that you can do all this stuff and maybe get results. It's not enough of a pattern or system for me to just sort of, well, maybe choice one, maybe choice two, maybe even choice three here, run additional labs. Medical doctors love to run their CBC chem panels. The main complaint here was fatigue and lethargy. Well, maybe they're anemic. That might show up. And they would just treat the numbers on that. Thyroid screen, this person had 113 points in endocrine function. Intestinal barrier function, that was one of their main complaints, was digestion. Or maybe they got the bugs, you need to run the GI pathogen screen. Maybe a metabolic assessment would be good. How about neurotransmitter testing? Because this person, if you remember from their main complaints, their top 10, they had moodiness and anxiety and things. Well, how about liver function? Maybe they're just toxic and they got a congested liver. Maybe they've got an autoimmune condition because remember, chronic fatigue could be part of that. Or maybe you run all of these. They had 426 points. Why don't we just run all the labs? The truth is, look, I got a way that I've done this over these 12 years, and there is a logical next step. I call it the metabolic assessment profile. And again, here's why. You can't test for everything, although I've tried it. I used to run 10, 11, 12 labs on every person 10 years ago. Found out, guess what? You don't need to do that. 2 or 3 labs, all you need to run, you can address every one of these functions. And here's the next lab. It's a simple urine test. So the first one was saliva. The second one is urine. This person has negative indican. That's probably a good thing. But their lipid peroxides are elevated. But they don't look elevated on this test. You have to have the experience and the knowledge, and that's what I want to give you and share with you. Here's the range, 1 to 7.5. Well, Sean, that says 7.45. Must be good, right?
No.
No, it's not. We know that the higher in the range you go, the more oxidative stress you have on your body, the more toxicity must be there. And now you do need a good antioxidant strategy, which Sean, I'm sure will tell you about sometime. But we need to keep moving here. I'm telling you, there's dysfunction here. There's healing opportunities, and the urinary bile acid sulfate, that's a direct measurement of liver function. Anything above a 5 is elevated, yet the range says 1 to 12. Now I can explain why, but again, I'm trying to get through this for you guys and let you know that there are labs that will give us function and how to improve that function. We can act on these healing opportunities and follow where that leads us. Now, so there's just 2 labs that tell us a ton of stuff. I'm going to go back to this one really quickly here. From these 3 simple urine markers, it's a cheap test. We get whether they're breaking down proteins and have a dysbiosis and maybe even leaky gut, whether they have this excess stress and toxicity, and liver congestion detoxification. Real important. So along with everything we talked about on the first one, the cortisol dysregulation, the adrenal dysfunction, that's a ton of those things on our ASI form. But here's where people missed. This is what people missed on this lab. What they missed is the fact that this noon, even though it's in the reference range between 5 and 8, well, 6 is between 5 and 8, must be okay. It's not. If you start off at 6.6 in the morning, then this noon is actually relatively elevated. The morning establishes the pattern, and you have to be able to recognize these patterns. So if they're starting off way below the reference range, they should pretty much stay below the reference range if the circadian rhythm was in place. Well, this is a relative elevation at noon. It tells you to look for foods and environmental things that are stimulating the stress response. Now it's back to 2.1 in the afternoon. It's telling you that they're completely pooped out, and that you got this little spike here because something was whipping the heck out of them, putting it mildly. I could use other words. And so then we have at nighttime the same thing. This is actually a relative elevation nighttime cortisol. Tells you the immune system's engaged. So these are the clues you won't get if you don't really get the training, become a good healthy detective. And like Sean always says, try to get to the root cause. These are fingers pointing at other things you need to take into consideration. And so, Sean, I'm going to keep rolling, man, because I want to get people to bed on time tonight and not keep them here. And I want to get to that special offer on the FDN course. Here's what was missed on that. This is the same lab. So many people look at this. Well, if you look at the range for this person, it looks pretty normal. But the progesterone, even though it's in range, is very low. The ratio here is really important. Let me go back. The ratio of progesterone to cortisol to estrogen, the ratio of progesterone to estrogen needs to be about 30 to 1. Well, if you take this 2.5 times 30, that should be 75. So we know we've got some interesting steroid hormone imbalance. The melatonin is also low, even though it's in range. I've tested thousands of people, and I'm telling you, anything under 18, you need to start looking at gut dysfunction, especially when combined with that relative elevation in nighttime cortisol. So you guys who've never done labs, you're not going to understand what I'm talking about. And it sounds like I'm talking fast, and I am, because I need to get through it and tell you that we know where you should go from here. Now, here's another choice. You can act upon.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Sean.
I just want to point out that testosterone. I think that's a really important marker, especially for the fitness trainers out there. If there's one thing I wish I could do if I were to go back to personal training, it would be to test people's testosterone and see what's going on there. Do they have that ability to put on muscle and burn fat? And it's just a very telling score. I've seen a lot of men with extremely low testosterone who've been trying to take off weight forever, and it's just simply not going to work when the testosterone's like that. And so what we do is help people to find the root cause of why that testosterone's low, get things worked out, and this starts to come up. So go ahead. I just want to point that out.
No, that's beautiful, Sean. And what I'd like to do is show them the principal metabolic pathways, the hormones. We can't do that tonight. We don't have time. But this testosterone, even for a female, is really low. I mean, the range is 20 to 60 here. So, well, it's 28. Well, let me tell you, the higher the better for men and women within range is really wonderful. So where do you go from here? You can act upon these healing opportunities. We never tell a person, you ran this lab, but now you got to run another. Oh, you ran that one, now you got to run another. It doesn't work that way. Even if you only ran one lab, which I don't do anymore, but I always run more. But you can act upon whatever healing opportunities you find. Did I say diagnose and treat anything? No, I didn't. I said just you've identified healing opportunities. You can support certain systems and functions in the body using drugless, potent, proven professional protocols and lifestyle things, and continue to seek and resolve the hidden stressors. That's what FDN is all about. You can run additional labs, but they need to be very, very much logical, in order. And your decision on what you do for yourself tonight, like jump into this and run a couple labs on yourself, and what you do for your family and for your patients and friends, if you have any, it would be wonderful. It can change lives. So again, the real problem, as I see it, isn't that people aren't running labs anymore. Like 4 years ago, people weren't running labs. Now people are running labs, but they don't really get what I've learned over all these years. And that is that, again, no two people are alike. The responses to treatment is going to be completely different from one person to the next. You can't give everyone the same stuff and expect the same results. We have no control over those responses or results. But if you've got the experience, you learn the most predictable direction to take a person in and what to expect. 3, 4, 5 things are going to happen. You do this, and these are the things. And then when we get to that road, we'll know what's going on with you, and we can come to that and modify it accordingly. The only thing we're really selling to anyone is this process of the direction they need to go in. We know exactly how to walk them through it and educate them along the way. The word doctor comes from Latin docere, to teach, and we are the real teachers. So you got your choice, kind of like doing thousands of tests and seeing where it takes you, or you can follow the steps that have been developed by me and my cohorts over the years. Now, Sean, here's another one. This is just, I'm going to do this quick example, and then we're going to get towards the end where we're kind of wrapping it up. Hopefully people are seeing it. Look, you need training to understand how to read this test. This is an intestinal barrier function screen. Let me explain it like this. A dog can drink dirty water and not get sick. Why? It's the mucosal barrier of the guts. It's the intestinal barrier. It keeps the bad stuff from getting in the body, but allows good stuff like food and nutrients and all that into the body. So that's what the mucosal barrier does. Just like dogs, we have the same ability. We should be completely able to handle most of the stuff that comes down the pipe if we're working good. So this is a measurement of the body's response to different things kind of coming down the pike, or that might just inhabit that area. Now, aerobic bacteria, now this is how sort of an untrained person would look at this. Aerobic bacteria, oh, that's low, that's probably good. These are bad bacteria, we don't want to have that. Anaerobic bacteria, well, that's equivocal. Oh, wait, dietary proteins, that's high. So wait, let me click. Okay, so there's that one, there's that one, there's that one. So elevated proteins. So that's the only thing showing up on this test. Let's run a food test now. You've got, or just get off the 5 foods that are involved in this test. It's IgA and IgM, which is an immune response to these 5 dietary proteins: egg, soy, corn, dairy, and gliadin, which you know is gluten, which you know is like wheat and grains and stuff. Perfect for the paleo, right? So you paleo guys, you know this: egg, soy, corn, dairy, and gliadin. Oh, they've got a response to one or more of those. Let's get them off. That would be kind of the treatment for this, and maybe give them some other kind of gut support or digestive aids or something like that, because yeast is fine. And look, secretory IgA, that's the marker to tell you if you have any serious infection. In other words, if all these were elevated, we'd know they have a big overgrowth of bacteria, food sensitivities, yeast growing, and some other major infection. If all these black dots are up here, these are all elevated. But let me tell you something. If all these were low, it would be 5 times worse, because what it's telling us is that functionally, here's what's going on. They actually are down here functionally. What this 37 tells me, because that's a moving target, secretory IgA will go up in terms of a response to stress. But then as the gut starts to get dysfunctional, as the villi atrophy, the brush border, those microvilli, they disappear. You get this blunted brush border. You get the villi themselves are kind of atrophying. You get what's called crypt hyperplasia. And guess what? You're not even exuding this wonderful, beautiful protector. These are the Marines. They should be out fighting if you have a pathogen. And what I'm telling you about this person is they're shutting down. Now, that's because I've looked at them, and of course I would know this person's history, and would have some other test results and this, and things like that. So what I'm telling you is that this secretory IgA, that's immunoglobulin A, in the saliva, it's the most abundant immune particle we have, and by looking at this test, you should be able to tell which direction the person's going in. Are you getting better? Are you getting worse functionally? Adaptive reserve, in this case, is disappearing. Some compartments are low. Anaerobic to aerobic ratio, by the way, is off, and I'll teach you about that in the course. Sean, what's going on with this person?
This person's gut and their immune system are shutting down.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think that gut's doing? like, what we
That
know.
gut is getting leaky. But what's really interesting is that things are starting to shut down, but that dietary protein score is still elevated. Kind of interesting.
That is interesting. So that tells me a couple things, and we can't get all into it, but folks, that's what I mean about getting the right, knowing what test to run, when to run it, and what it means when you do run it. Now, here's the pathogen test that we likely would run. This is a stool culture for some bacteria. It's got the stool for ova and parasites. This is 4 days of microscopy, plus the trichrome staining, stool antigen testing, and what showed up on this person was a light growth of candida. That's very difficult to grow on stool, so that was pretty serious. And then, to top it all off, they got H. pylori detected.
Very common. Very, very common. You'll see that all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, all the times that, nebulous term, but you see it a lot, but you need to test for it because we don't treat people for it if they don't have it. Now, here's the food test. We're just going to blow by that and get to the problem as the way I see it, is that you can run labs. I'll choose this one, you choose that one. Oh, this person came to me, they'd run that one. And this is what I'm seeing in my practice now. You might even identify something like adrenal dysfunction, cortisol dysregulation, low sex hormone levels, hormone ratio problems, poor digestion and absorption, toxicity, and poor detoxification to top it off. Congested liver, poor mucosal immunity, pathogens present, food sensitivities there. We can test for, Sean, I haven't even told you this. I now have a test. It's it's called a lymphocyte reflex assay. We can test like 600 items, including all the drugs they're using, all the chemicals in their environment, all the over-the-counter stuff. There's even some of their supplements and all the foods they could possibly be eating. It's amazing what you can get. And you folks, you are wonderful listeners tonight, Sean. You have such a great audience, but they and the people that are coming to see them. So in other words, you folks and the people who come to see you for personal training or chiropractic or acupuncture, whatever it is, they all have these exact same problems. And you have to know exactly what steps to take, and that's what the FDN course will teach you. Now I'm going to give you guys a tip as far as how to improve your practice 100-fold tonight. One tip. Instead of trying to explain to people like what you do and how would you like to work with me, and can you handle this, you have to learn to stand up to people and say, here's how I work. These 4 words right here, like magic words. If you want to be in control of your clients, no matter what they came to you for, you need to be able to say this to them. Here's how I work, and then tell them. Now, if it's personal training or chiropractic, you tell them, here's how I work, and then let that be the way you work. And that's the only way you work. It ain't their program, pardon me. It isn't their program. It's your program, and you need to be able to tell people that and stand on your feet and say it. Now, when I say that, here's how I work, ma'am, they give me their story. I say, here's how I work. I use functional lab testing to identify malfunctions at the subclinical, which is kind of a pre-disease level, within these areas here: steroid hormones, cortisol dysregulation, digestion assimilation, and on down the list there. And there's the diagram that I can even show them. And I've got their ASI form. I have them fill it, and I go, look, you got 400 points, 200, 300, whatever it is. And they're in these areas. So I need to run these 2 or 3 labs to really get my arms around you. I'm a very good health detective if you hire me, and that's how I work. And if you want to, here's what it'll cost. I tell them, and we get into arm's length transaction. They give me their credit card. I give them some test kits. It's all cash. So what FDN health detectives do, they follow this logical course of investigation. We seek the hidden stressors, underlying malfunctions, until when, Sean?
until the person feels good, until we can actually, get some resolution of their issues.
Until it's resolved, until they're well. I just like to use the word until you're well. How long are you going to do this for? Until you're well. Is that good enough for you? Yeah. And that's what we do. And some people take longer than others. But each successive lab will identify some opportunities for healing. I mean, true healing. Again, without diagnosing or treating anything, we're not playing doctor. We're not trying to substitute for medicine, because we're not medicine. We're healing. Different world. And so not only do the labs identify these healing opportunities, they point the finger at the next direction if you know how to read them. And so labs tell us what to work on, how to work on it, where to look next, how to get deeper and closer to the underlying cause or condition. And the bottom line is we don't treat test results. Let me just say one more thing about this deeper and closer to the underlying cause or condition. There's only so much scientific evidence and knowledge that we have. You can keep sort of scratching and scratching at the different things we need to look into to get closer to that cause or condition. And we may never actually get to the exact cause or condition on every person. But you know what? We can have an effect on that cause by getting some lab work, and then we do some things. And again, if you've done it for 12 years on thousands of people, you have some clue about what to expect. And then retest or look at the ASI form or all these other ways we have of getting objective and subjective criteria. And guess what? We're having an effect on that cause or condition, even if we can't really specifically identify it. And why is that? Because we have such great general principles. And so, I told you tonight, folks, and I think we may actually be out on time, Sean, that because I said, no more than an hour. And we said we're going to show you the methods that I developed over a 12-year period that helped a lot of people to get well and stay well, all naturally, and helped me build a very successful practice. Now, how do I know I had a successful practice? Well, money talks. But also, I was getting calls from the lab, and they were asking me, hey, frankly, who the hell are you? How could you possibly run this many labs? You're doing more than Joseph Mercola's office, and he has 5 doctors working for him. Well, I love helping people, and I'm a hard worker. And Sean, you know what it's like running this screening business, right?
Yes.
That was a lot of work. But
Yes.
Sean did it, folks. I mean, he was taking that bone density machine around to the store, and he was getting that experience and realizing, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
I was hustling.
But you were hustling. Now, on top of that, the lectures. On top of that, working in a busy clinic and seeing all of the doctor's patients there for the clinical thing. I mean, I built a very successful practice, and I can teach you exactly how to do it. So I wanted to introduce you to FDN. So you can decide if you want to let me and my team. I have a staff of 6 now, all with mentorship and all that sort of stuff. If you want to let us help you, you and your clients, and maybe your family members, by joining our family. The challenge for you, as I see it, because you're getting all this different data from all Sean's wonderful guests on the Underground Wellness and from the Paleo Summit presentation. I mean, but what is it you're actually going to do? And when to do it, and how to individualize it for each person. So you have the opportunity right now to get the experience of someone with 11,000 tests under their belt, and without having to do them yourself. I get feedback. Matter of fact, I don't know any way to do this, but Sean, I'm going to pop something up on the screen. Let me know if this email shows up on the screen. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to drag this email. This was unplanned, folks, so I'm sorry. Now, this is something that Heidi, you see Heidi right here is my assistant. This is today, 3/7, at this morning. She forwarded me this. It's from one of our new trainees named Lisa. Lisa said it was okay to show you this. This is her FDN course feedback. Hi, Rita and team. I just want to share with you how much I'm enjoying your course. Investing in this program was a big decision. I'm expanding my practice and have all the expenses that accompany that process. Sure, I'm sure. Anyway, so I am so pleased that I made the commitment to FDN, and I'm 100% confident I can make even more of a difference with the lives of my clients, as well as benefiting my friends and family. Thanks for all that you do. Sincere gratitude. Now, that is this morning's email, Sean. So I'm trying to just show people here that you can get my experience and I don't know any other way to get it all as fast as we're going to be able to give it to you. So here's some of you guys, and you and your clients want to know those three things. Do you know what's wrong with me? Yes. Can I help you? Yes. Have you helped others like me? Yes, I have. And our system has, and you can have that system. Now, for you to answer with the same confidence that I have and that Sean has, what would that be worth to you? Because we took a lot of questions on the when you registered, and the most frequent question, besides "Will this be recorded?" Yes. The most frequent question besides "Will this be recorded?" was, how much, and what's it going on? So, what I did is I designed the certification course. You do get a beautiful certificate, so that you can learn everything I do, turn around and duplicate it in your practice, and it will only cost you one client. Now, I say that because I charge $1,500 for the average intake. Trust me, you won't start there, but that's what I charge for my intake recommendations and protocols. There's no lab work, there's no supplements, that's just what I charge. You can take the entire FDN course, do all the work on yourself, and be fully trained to do it on others for less than that. So what's it worth? There's approximately, Sean, I recounted this morning, almost 800 people have been through the FDN course, taking it.
Wow.
The average return on investment is 3 times what they spent for the course in the first month or two, because they're learning my model, not just learning how to do the labs, but how to talk to their clients about it and how to charge them for it, so they can start getting paid their money back right away. That, of course, is determined by you. You can give this away if you want. If you want to do charity work, that's fine. I do my share of it. If you want to just do this on friends and family for nothing, it's okay with me. But you don't have to. And this is the other thing that's amazing, and the other third most frequent feedback I get on the course is that this did for my own health alone was worth the price of admission. You will do 2 personal labs on yourself. This is part of the course, and I think I'm the only functional lab course doing it this way. You run these 2 labs on yourself and receive your own personalized Dress for Health Success protocol. Now that is, I spent 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. I'm still developing the protocols and improving them. So 12 years, 13 years almost, going into the protocols. And I put them all into a package called the Dress for Health Success. That stands for diet, rest, exercise, supplements, and stress reduction, which is where all the labs come in. And you'll get your own personal one. So that's worth the price of admission right there. But you'll also get the convenience of 24/7 access to lessons, personal coaching with my mentors, ability to take this course and apply the information regardless of where you live. So all you people who ask me, can I do this in Copenhagen? Can I do this in Amsterdam? Can I do this in Australia and New Zealand and Canada? We're in 35 countries. So yes, you can do it there. You can do it with any other discipline. Another frequent question with Sean was always, I'm a massage therapist. I don't have a background in biology. Well, neither did I when I started this work. So I want to tell you, you can integrate this with any discipline you're doing. Sean, wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So don't worry. The only prerequisite is that you love people and you want to help them. If you have a passion and burning desire to help others, especially get healthy, then that's what we're all about. You get everything I've ever invented: forms, videos, charts, graphs, patient education materials, everything. I don't hold anything back. I don't sell you extra stuff. You get it all with the course. It's designed for distance consulting. So if you think, well, I don't have that many people coming in the office, I only see 5 people a week or something like that, don't worry. All of those people know people who know people who know people. And you can put this on your Facebook. You can put this on. Just talk to Sean about how to build, an international distance consulting business, because that's what you can do with this. I'll teach you how to.
Just real quick, while we're on that, that's something that I'm offering. If you guys enroll, it's going to be an hour coaching session on actually how to get clients and how to do the marketing side of it. If you want to use the hour for that, if you just want to talk FDN and talk shop, we can do that. But I tend to be pretty good with the marketing, so you pick my brain for an hour.
Sean, that is really generous of you, and I should probably double the price for that if you're giving an hour. Anyway, so we'll teach you how to charge for your services. It's a wonderful opt-in self-care model that actually works. Again, we're going to wrap it up here, folks. But wonderful opt-in. What does that mean? People don't have to come and see you. They don't have a bone sticking out of the arm bleeding, and they don't have a big tumor sticking out of their forehead. They're opting in. They're choosing to work with you when you know how to educate them and talk to them. And it's a self-care model. They're not under your care like you're some doctor. you're going to teach them how to self-care, how to be. It's just such a cool thing. And the fact that it works is, that's the jazz. So I want every single person listening here. By the way, we have a full house. It's amazing, and I really appreciate and love you guys for showing up. It's just fantastic how many people are actually in the room here with us and drop by tonight. But I want every one of you to sign up for the FDN course. I can handle that. My staff and I are ready. We have all the kits ready to go out, and the lessons are all online. Like I said, there's really only 2 reasons why you won't do it. You wonder, can you do this? And Sean and I have explained, you can. Can you afford this? Yes, you can. Because number one, I'm giving you an absolute 100% money back guarantee. If after lesson 1, and please be honest with me, don't take 3 lessons and then tell me, you won't do that. Believe me, you won't. But if after lesson 1 you don't think this course is everything I laid it out to be, you don't think you'll be able to help people improve their health, you don't think I'm practically giving it away, then let me know and you just get your money back. It's okay with me. I still love you, and you'll still love me. You won't say anything bad about the course. You'll say, you know what, that's a phenomenal course, but it just wasn't for me at the blah, blah, blah. So here's all you got to do now, and here's our final offer. The FDN certification course is only $1,495. I've been told many times we're giving it away for that price, especially compared to what some other courses cost. And there's a lot of free bonuses involved if you buy today. And this is what we're giving away right now is the FDN mentoring program, business development consultations with me. These are above and beyond all the other consultations you'll get with me to go over the coursework. And also going to throw in my Stress and Hormones DVD. This is a DVD of me doing a Stress and Hormones lecture. So you can duplicate that. So you can go out and lecture on stress and hormones just by watching my DVD of how I did it in a library. It's a great recording, and you'll get a complete package of how to set up lectures, sample press releases, sample articles, all the handouts that you give at a stress and hormones lecture, advertising, all the things you need. So the total value is about $2,400. You're going to pay only $1,495, and you're going to save about $900. Now you can make payments: 1 payment, 2 payment, 3 payments, or 6 payments. So we're just not very much money. You can get right into the FDN course starting today, and all you need to do is go to this link to sign up for the program. It's www.fdntraining.com. and click on the register button, and when you register you're going to put your name in there as the student, and then you're going to use a credit card. You're going to get asked who referred you. You can put either Underground Wellness or Sean Croxton as a referral source. If you don't like doing transactions over the internet, even though they're totally safe, you can register by phone at this number. You call me or Heidi, and we'll take your credit card number over the phone and get you signed up that way. So I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and I want to say thank you very much. And Sean, thanks a million for having me. Talk to you later.